Dear Family is a podcast hosted by Rachel Steinman, a writer, an educator, and a mental health advocate. And Rachel gets us up close and personal, so we feel a strong connection, familiarity, and comfort with her guests. So settle in and join us as we search for true healing and journey with Rachel and her most interesting guests.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rachel Steinman, and this is my best friend, Rachel Winter, and my co-author. And today, my co-host for this very special collaboration between the Dear Family podcast and our new brand, Stay Forever Gold. And today, we're going to shine a light on how friendship, community, and connection benefit our mental health, longevity, and overall happiness.
This is so fun. We're, of course, excited to tell everyone about the book that we launched recently. It's called Stay Golden Girls, Friendship is the New Marriage. Oh, yes, perfect example. Because in today's world, one thing that everyone can agree on, and it bears repeating, that friendship is worth fostering and celebrating.
So for those of you who don't know Rach, my insanely awesome best friend, and co-author, I'm going to tell you a little bit about her. So she's a writer, a director, and an Academy Award nominated producer for Dallas Buyers Club. And she produced LeBron's biopic, LeBron James, that is, his biopic Shooting Star. Yeah, they're probably not. Shooting Stars, which was released on Peacock in June 2023. And she produced and directed the audio drama Supreme, The Battle for Roe, starring Maya Hawke and William H. Macy. It's a 9-part series weaving together the incredible story of the young female lawyer who argued Roe v. Wade in front of the Supreme Court and the justice who wrote the opinion, and I highly recommend you listen to it. Rach made her directorial debut with The Space Between, starring Kelsey Grammer, for which they both received awards from various film festivals. She's got a killer sense of design and a real flair for life that always involves color. And our book definitely shows that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Say it again. So now it is my turn to introduce you, my bestie and co-author, Rachel Steinman, who y'all know from Dear Family. You are a writer and a teacher, mental health advocate, and Rachel hosts Dear Family, the podcast many of you know, and she's had incredible inspirational guests who have come on to talk about the mental health obstacles that they have overcome. You received your master's in education and teaching credentials from UCLA. You've taught every elementary school grade, and you've even been a school librarian. And now this really comes in handy for everything that we've been doing. You are also a lead presenter for NAMI, and get this right, National Alliance on Mental Illness. And Rachel goes into middle schools and high schools to educate students, parents, and staff about the warning signs while always offering resources and hope. She's super passionate about getting people to talk about mental health by replacing the stigma, the shame, and secrecy with love and compassion and understanding. And you're also a great audience. One of my favorite sounds in the world is listening to Rachel laugh.
Yes. And you make me laugh, which I love. So although my podcast, Dear Family, is about family, we are talking about friendship. But before we go into friendship, let's start by talking a little bit about our family. So can you tell us a little bit about your family?
So my original family, my parents and my brother, I was raised in Los Angeles, in the Valley, in Granada Hills. And my brother, Josh, he's 2.5 years older than me. And my parents, Mark and Judy, amazing people. My dad was a public defender for juveniles his entire career, and now continued that passion and commitment to giving voice to those who cannot represent themselves with a voice. Now sits on the bench as a judge for juvenile hall. My mother is one of my best friends, and an extraordinary woman. She's absolutely gorgeous, which gives me hope for what's to come for me. Now I have my family that I have helped create with my husband, Terry, and our two amazing children, Max and Simone.
How about you?
Okay,
You want to talk about your
sure. I'll
family?
tell you a little bit about my family. I also grew up in the Valley. I grew up with an unconventional family in that my mom has been married 3 times. My dad was married 3 times. I have half brothers, step siblings. I very close to my younger brother Adam, and then I have 2 half brothers, Benjamin and Daniel. I also have a family that I've created. I've married one of my best friends, Todd Steinman, and we have 2 daughters. Amber, she's 21, Molly, 18, and I'm soon to be an empty nester.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
Is it my turn? Okay. So
you're up.
speaking of family, we know that our best friends are our chosen family. So, Rach, why don't you start by telling everyone how we met and became sisters?
So Rach and I went to UC Santa Barbara together. And so we met freshman year. We were all living in the same dorm. And, I would say that I consider us lucky that our friendship has grown as opposed to really being thick as thieves. At 18, we ended up really over time, over the last 3 decades, becoming closer and closer. Careers, family, marriages. For me, you're still going strong in your first. And last, I'm going with last. And we, over time, definitely started to feel the shift from having fun together as friends to needing and cherishing our time together on a deeper level. So I think becoming sisters was really by way of becoming closer and closer as friends over time.
Exactly. And I'd also say our families, our friends, and we get to travel together, and that's really special for sure.
Absolutely. And now why don't we talk about, all the stuff leading up to why we did the book, but how would you say the pandemic changed how we viewed friendship in general?
Right. So at the beginning of the pandemic, we were literally isolated from each other, but we continued to have group chats and do cocktail Zooms, and we even would meet and go on walks and stay like 10, I don't know, 8 feet apart or whatever the opposite sides of it was. It was so silly. I think about that. Well, I guess it wasn't silly, but it felt a little silly. And as time went on, we realized how important the connections were. And we realized that we were not alone, that a lot of our friends really turned to each other. And we started a group chat that I would say sustained us, that we turned to for just encouragement, support, help, love. And again, we realized we weren't alone when we started reading about communes, and when the pandemic ended and we wanted to throw a Galentine's Day party, we realized our teenage daughters were being invited to Galentine's Day parties. And
that article that Kimmy sent.
Right. Do you want to tell them about that article?
Sure. So one of our besties, Kimberly, whatever she chooses, she sent us an article that was in the Post. I always say the Times. Rachel goes, not the Times. The article in the Post was about the 7 young Chinese women who had pooled together their resources to buy a rundown mansion outside of the city. And they started to fix it up. This was sort of a B plan, a retirement plan. But ultimately, they started to spend time there now with their families. But it really is for them to live out their lives together. And we were just so moved by that.
Right. And we realized that these young women across the world were thinking like we were. And so we knew that we were in the zeitgeist. So speaking of the zeitgeist, tell us about why this book, why Stay Golden Girls, Friendship is the New Marriage.
I think it became very clear, like you said, this concept was in the zeitgeist. So we were sort of having fun with this idea when the Manyans and the Chinese women and all of these different signs pointing to women prioritizing friendship in a completely different way. And so, we have the play on words, stay golden, girls. So there's, of course, the old show, Golden Girls, where women live together. This book is definitely not just about women living together. But, we have an amazing group of female friends, and a lot of different female friends, they often joke about all living together. So just the more and more conversations we started to have, that, of course, then Barbie comes out. And, and I'm super close with Robbie Brenner, one of the geniuses behind Barbie, who actually blurbed the back of our book. Yay. And that female empowerment, the world of hot pink, the world of just women can do it. That fact that a movie could become a cultural event and part of this movement, we just ended up really feeling like the time was now. And we've created this thing with Good Timing that is literally and figuratively bright. It's light. It is a reminder to value the currency of friendship. And then, of course, back to women all over the world prioritizing the importance of their friends, living healthier, happier lives because of them. My turn. Okay. And your expertise in the kind of the wellness space. Why don't you talk a little bit about how friendship helps with longevity?
So we referenced the Harvard happiness study in our book, but it was a study that lasted 85 years. And it basically pointed out that if you want to have a healthy life, have good relationships. And it doesn't have to be relationships that are just romantic relationships. In fact, it can be small relationships, human connection. It can be the person that you talk to every time you go into Trader Joe's, or your best friend that you talk to 10 times a day, like we do. But those connections,
I don't even think it's 10 times.
It's probably more. Yeah, it's probably more. We'll talk more about that later because our husbands think we're crazy. And then the U.S. Surgeon General came out to discuss how we are living during a time that is a true loneliness pandemic, where most people are feeling isolated. And this was part of what happened with the pandemic. Was it, again, literally separated us, but the importance of creating that community and the connection. And he compared being lonely to smoking 16 cigarettes a day. And well, what's the antidote to loneliness? It's friendship. And so there are just so many benefits to creating friendships, sustaining those friendships, having them over a lifetime. And, it's funny, contrary to what many people think, diet, exercise, and sleep. Yes, those are all wonderful and healthy, but having those connections and that community, surprisingly, is just maybe equally or more beneficial. And then there was another study that we also referenced that I love, that is married men live longer than unmarried men. Married men live longer than
when they are married to women.
Right. There we go. When they are married to women, they live longer. Whereas married women, it doesn't matter. The opposite is not. The opposite is not necessarily true. So what's the conclusion?
Marry a woman.
Marry a woman. Or have a lot of women in your life, right? That because, and again, these are generalizations. Of course, we realize that these are generalizations.
We're also speaking from the perspective of the fact that we're in straight marriages.
Correct.
And so we're only speaking from what we know and what we've focused on in terms of our research. But my favorite statistic is that the number one suspect in every murder case is the spouse.
So let's just say marriage happens ups and downs.
Right. Exactly. All right, Rach, we've been friends for over 3 decades.
Holy crap.
What is it that makes old friends so golden?
I love that we're talking about this.
Old friends.
We share past. Every none of the previous versions of ourselves. It's low hanging fruit. The inside joke, the look, the glance, like a reference to something that happened 10 years ago that you pull up. It's just like that in your mind. And then, we wanted to share
From page 65 in this book, The Golden Girls, Friendship is the New Marriage, in case you didn't hear us the first 75 times we said it.
That this is from our chapter about old friends. And just say to give you
Just a little taste.
with old friends,
The space-time continuum
is meaningless because it doesn't matter how much time has passed since the last visit. There's an unspoken secret language developed over time only we understand. It's like laughter lives inside us, simply waiting to come out. Laughter shared between people who are in on the same joke, even when the joke is on us. Sensitivity and questioning go out the window, and only the bedrock of connection and love are left. Even when the world is at its worst and most ridiculous, an old friend can pull us up, cheer us up, crock us up with a look, a pregnant pause, or a one-liner that would make Carol Burnett or Tina Fey stand up and applaud.
Yeah. God, who wrote that? It's so good.
Why don't we, one of the things that was super important to us was to be able to give back. And tell us about Girls Inc., which we both love as an organization.
So partial proceeds go to Girls Inc. And it's this incredible organization that has partnered with us, and they've been around for 160 years. So I think it was 1864 when they were established. And they continue today, where they mentor young girls and young women. And that is really kind of the bedrock of our book and our brand, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but about giving back and connection and forming community, and how we're so much better when we're together and stronger when we're together. And so Girls Inc. is a perfect partner for us.
It is. It's also, which I think we will talk about in a little bit, but also the investment in the younger generations.
Best way to
Create an army of amazing women is to
help an army of girls
and empower them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so Rachel, you are a very busy person, literally
10
projects at a time or more. You have a full-time job as a producer, a director. So I was really surprised when you decided that you wanted to dive into this project with me. Really happy and really surprised. So why did you believe in this project so much? And why do you continue to give so much into making this a reality?
I do. I love this
question because it really helps me think about some of the choices that I make.
But then, I do overextend, but not with this. This is an amazing investment of my time. It's also an extension of the fact that I'm a storyteller. That is also the day job. And so we're telling a story. We're contributing to the story that's out there in the zeitgeist of friendship, of
Female friendship.
And the film and television business, which I'm super grateful to be a part of. It's really like I'm one of the luckiest people I know. And was very slow. So my creative instincts and my creative impulses, this is very satisfying to have worked on this with you and to be able to point to something that is joyful and bringing something positive into the world. So that's not hard. I like
Selling, and I like
making people bend to my will. So
I'm not embarrassed to say.
So I love to be able to go out and walk into a boutique and you're like, oh, there's our book. So
lots of reasons.
that working on this with you.
I am so grateful to have a partner like you because that is not my strong suit. Rachel has already gotten our book into so many great boutiques, and it's so exciting to see.
But your brain works in a completely different way, and you have been able to throw your arms around the hell that is launching a book online. I'm going to leave it at that.
It's been a roller coaster ride,
but we are on Amazon, we're on Etsy, and
human beings that
we've never met are buying the book. It's incredible. You also completely taught yourself social media, which I refuse and have to never participate in. But thank God you understand it, or you taught yourself. So we do have different strengths. It's been a great partnership. And, kind of as an extension of that, being a mental health advocate that you spent a lot of your time working as, why was this book so important to you, and why is friendship the best medicine / therapy?
Well, I could talk about this for another hour, that question, but the truth is that we are experiencing an epidemic of loneliness, and I talked about this earlier about how loneliness is really bad for your mental health, and the reverse is true. When you have a community, it's really good for your mental health, and that translates into your physical health. And women's friendships are just this renewable source of what's the quote?
Source of energy.
Who quoted that?
That's in her book. Oh God, we should remember that. Anyways, whoever said it, we're smart.
Yeah, but they add to your life. Your friends help you, remind you to live a healthy life. They remind you to celebrate. They remind you to be in the moment. And as that mental health advocate going into schools and talking to kids, especially post-pandemic, so many kids have relied on socializing through their phones or through screens. And it's really detrimental and sad. And there are so many studies about how much time we are spending on screens, up to about 13 hours a day, where that was never the case. Obviously, 100 years ago, we didn't have that technology. And so the importance of joining clubs, getting involved, actually face-to-face, how good that is for our mental health. And so I want to remind students, I want to remind the listeners, the importance of making those connections, following through with those connections, fostering those connections, making a coffee date, what have you. It goes beyond just like that hour of having fun together, or 2 hours, or however long. It really infiltrates into your life and makes a positive impact. All right. So the tagline for our book is "Friendship is the New Marriage." So why should we celebrate platonic romance? And why is there this shift that we're seeing with women that are prioritizing their friendship?
We do in the book, we credit Amy Poehler and her amazing character from Parks and Recs, which coming up with Valentine's Day. I think that was really, it's like part of the beginning of these phrases. And, and you mentioned platonic romance when I walked into the Ripped Bodice, simply to find out if they'd want to carry a book. The young women.
Tell them what the Ripped Bodice is.
So, yeah, happily. The Ripped Bodice is an amazing bookstore in Culver City. There's also one in Brooklyn, New York. They both carry a book. And it is a romantic bookshop, but all kinds of romance. And they just really embraced Stay Golden Girls, Friendship is a New Marriage, because of this idea of platonic romance. And so we were being taught by young women in their 20s who worked there, like our friends and I, we talk about this all the time. We could totally marry our best friends in this platonic romantic way. So that was really extraordinary to learn that, maybe we were hoping that multiple generations of women would connect and that this book would resonate. I think it's been so lovely to learn how much it means to younger generations of women. This concept that positive, strong
female friendships
And again, in the paradigm of a straight relationship, for example, or actually any relationship, can make the marriage itself stronger between the two people in the marriage when there are outside ways to spend time, express yourself, and then you're stronger when you come together with your spouse. The concept that it takes a village to kind of raise a life, have a life. And then once upon a time, I think people really thought that, your women, I think, were socialized to think that your world had to orbit around your spouse. And I think that's kind of outdated. Proof is that it's outdated. And it's really lovely to think that once upon a time, maybe you got married and you were raising a family and you were go seek out living near your parents or your spouse's parents. Now, people and friendships are seeking out areas and communities where they can look near their friends because of that idea about it takes a village. So,
which is our dream.
Yeah, exactly. We'll make it happen.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you think that friends can become soulmates in a real way?
I do.
What if you said no? You was like, no.
No. Well, I guess it would depend on the friend, that is. So Rachel and I are very lucky. We're both happily married. And so we're lucky to be able to compare and say that, yes, you can have a soulmate that is a friend, and you can have multiple soulmates as a friend, which you can't do with husbands.
Right. I mean, unless you're in New
Right. I guess, yeah, maybe not,
Although, not you let them have multiple husbands, or you can only have multiple wives.
Multiple wives.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't want to go into that.
Okay.
So, but Rachel and I,
Well, tell them what happened at the bank.
Okay. So we act sometimes as if we are married. And one of the things that we did that a typical married couple might do is we went and we opened up a joint bank account, which is really fun. And we bought each other rings, which are these Claudia rings, which I don't know if you
probably can't see them.
But they're the Irish wedding ring, and they're the symbol of friendship. So the heart signifies love, and the crown is loyalty. And by the way, we're planning on selling them as friendship rings. But so we're giving each other rings. We're opening up accounts together for the business. Yeah. When we go dancing, for example, we'll swing each other around and have the best time as if we're like married. We hug each other. We tell each other we love each other. We confide in each other. We have this deep intimacy. It's obviously not a sexual intimacy, but it's physical. We'll grab each other. We'll hold each other's hands. We confide in one another. It's this beautiful marriage of friendship. And so I do think that friends can be soulmates.
Lovely.
Okay.
Oh, no, this is you.
This is me. Okay. So what has been some of the best reaction that we've gotten over our book?
The one of the best reactions that popped into my head was a woman named Ashley. She's in her 30s. She bought the book. And again, somebody who doesn't know us and we don't know her. And her response, she felt compelled to reach out to us through our website. Can't worry, we'll provide for you. And it was so from the heart. She said that she had been feeling a little lost as a wife and a new mom, and that she was feeling like she read her book and inspired to reach out to her female friends, spend more time with them. And she was talking about what a positive impact that had made on her life, and she's so much better for it. And I think it doesn't get better than that for
that
anyone.
was the reaction we could only hope for.
That's right.
So,
when you put something out into the world and somebody gets it exactly right, and it made a positive impact, that's all I ask for.
I also love that say a woman goes to a boutique and buys the book, connects with it, and then comes back and buys multiple copies for their friend group. And it's really been fun to hear about these friend groups that often have great group chat names or just names for their groups. And that's been really fun to learn about. Yeah.
That is really great.
What happens when there is competition amongst friends?
It's a really good question. And it was a question that we've been asked by other women when we've been interviewed. And so I wanted to make sure to address it because it happens. And as much as we want to say, oh, you know, it doesn't have to be just one woman in the room, or you don't have to get your feelings hurt when you don't get invited to something and you see it on social media. We still get our feelings hurt, and we still are sensitive creatures. And, you know, I have 2 daughters, and I remind them that it doesn't matter how old you are, you can get your feelings hurt, and that's normal. And we've made an effort because, for example, starting this book, we had a friend who we worried might feel left out, and we had to address it, and we came to this understanding, which I hope, you know, our friend feels good about, that she is our muse and that we adore her and that she's very much part of this, because it's not a friendship, you know, can take various.
It's fluid.
It's fluid.
Right,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I will tell you a little story about recently that happened to me. I had a friend who called me out and said, you know, here you are, you're writing this book about friendship, and you have not been such a good friend to me. I've been sick and my parents are sick and you have not been there for me. And it literally like made me stop in my tracks. I was running around, busy as could be. And I stopped and I said, and I thanked her. And I said, I want you to know I'm so grateful that rather than you ghosting me or, you know, just getting so upset with me that you dropped me, you confronted me. And it made me realize that I have to stop and think about my friends. It does take work. And she was not completely jealous, or there wasn't that competition there, but it was a little bit, again, the hurt feelings. And she thanked me and said, thank you for not being defensive. Thank you for listening to me. And literally the next day, I called her, I texted her, I made an effort, because that's part of it. It's part of the communication is how we get through these competition, jealousy things and understand one another. And I'm not going to say there are times that we will go out with certain groups and I will for sure know not to put it on social media because I don't want to hurt friends' feelings. So it does not matter how old you are, you can get your feelings hurt. Reversely, I will say my husband will say something to me like, I'm glad I wasn't invited. You know, like he's less sensitive than I am, right? So it just depends.
That's a male thing.
It could be a male thing, and it's a bit of a generalization. But my point being is that we just have to be mindful and we have to communicate. It's okay to apologize. It's okay to have these conversations. It's only going to make you closer.
That's so true.
All right. So what happens when you lose a friend over something that you think just can't be repaired?
You know, I writing this book with you, I think it started from such a place of excitement about discovering the value of female friendship, how, like we've talked about, the reprioritization of female friendship. And it definitely helped me to look in and really come to an understanding about my part in different relationships. I have suffered a loss of a friend, rather a loss of a friendship.
And it made me really better understand and take responsibility, kind of like what you were just talking about.
But my part in the dissolution or the sort of fall, and understanding that
friends are like flowers in a garden. If you don't water them, they die. And taking responsibility for not either seeing that there were cracks in the foundation of this one particular relationship before it was too late, or not having the guts to stand up and say, we're headed in a bad direction. We are not caring for this friendship and we could lose it. and it's something I live with. And, it's good to share those experiences because, I don't think anything is irreparable necessarily, but I think that in life, you're really kind of in trouble if you're not open and willing to learn from your mistakes.
Absolutely.
So keep staying on this line. We call ourselves friendship ambassadors, and we've been called the Rachels, which is very sweet. Because one of our big goals is to foster friendships and create community and connection, which is the soul of our brand, Stay Forever Gold. It can be hard to make friends as an adult, and we've been kind of surprised that groups have wanted to ask us about how to make new friends in this day and age. Do you have any suggestions you want to share?
I do. And, I recognize how lucky I am, how lucky we are. We grew up where we still live. So we have old friends from elementary school, middle school, high school, college, you name it. But there are people that move around and they are starting a new career and they're looking to make new friends. And it is an important question to think about. And similar to our tagline, friendship is the new marriage, you have to almost look at meeting friends almost like you're going out to find a mate or a date. So put yourself out there. Know there's a chance you might be rejected, but also think of the flip side, how great it will be. And you can have multiple relationships, which is great. And get involved in things that interest you. So, for example, Rachel mentioned the Ripped Bodice. Every week they have a romantic book club. So if you're interested in romance books, how great. You'll meet other women there. Or if you're interested in golf, take a golf lesson or what have you, right? Get a dog, go to a dog park.
Put yourself
Adopt a dog.
Adopt a dog.
Yes.
Adopt a dog.
Yes,
Adopt a dog.
yes, you can avoid it.
Please. Just getting involved and also take interest in that person, ask questions, and really pay attention. One of the nicest things you can do is remember your friend's tea or coffee order and then show up at their place with it. Just little things like that make such a difference. And you'll see how quickly it can grow. And maybe you're not so interested in their work, but asking them a question about it and listening and then coming back the next day and following through. How did it go? I can't tell you how amazing that makes that other person feel, that they're heard. And so it's just to have a friend, you have to be a friend. And it's as simple as that. And so, Rachel, what's another example of how to be a good friend?
So we've talked about this and it's really interesting. It sounds counterintuitive, but one of the ways to actually be a good friend is to ask for help, to show vulnerability and a need. A need for that friend can actually bring you two people closer. It might allow a friend to feel more comfortable. And then, of course, the same goes for both friends. It's because asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of strength. Women in particular are definitely better at giving than receiving. So in the instance of I am the first person to offer help, but I'm not the first person to ask for it. And I think it's very empowering for someone who I care about, who cares about me, to know that I'm reaching out and I'm saying, I need you.
Yeah.
I think it can really deepen our relationship.
Absolutely.
What do you notice happens when women work together?
So I have two daughters and they started off doing team sports. And I never did team sports and I wish I had. I really see the benefit of girls being on teams together because you learn to rely on each other and you learn to understand how much stronger you are when you're together and how where your weakness is, someone else can come in and lend a hand. And I think that one of the things that Girls Inc. and that we're trying to do with this book and that we're seeing happening with movies like Barbie is that we are so much stronger when we can join forces, and that we don't have to just have one strong woman in the room. And so that's really an important reminder that friendships can do and groups of women can do. And that
women seem to understand more easily maybe than men that rising tides lift all boats, and it comes more naturally to
absolutely
women. Yeah, you hope.
Absolutely.
But we encourage
women to remember that pulling into that as opposed to away and toward a more competitive space that everybody benefits.
But when we grew up, we were not socialized necessarily to think that way. And so it's really important to remind our girls that message. And that just, it sounds cliche, but our voices are so much more amplified when they are united. Yeah, in a chorus, exactly. So, Rach, when we were teens, at least definitely for me, we wanted nothing to do with our moms. And now we have teenage daughters. I have a young adult daughter. And now, in some respects, as much as we wanted not to turn into our moms, we're turning into our moms. And, obviously, different generations, we have maybe some more insight that we've gained. But what does it mean when we move beyond just that mother relationship and it turns into a friendship? Tell us about that.
I think that when mothers and daughters become friends, it's a huge gift. And you hope that it happens. The mother-daughter
relationship is complex.
It's Shakespearean. It's deeply psychological. It's every form of media. Every medium touches upon it, and it's also permanent. The cycles will go on and on and on. God willing. And I think that when it clicks in, that you've got this built-in best friend, you've got this built-in advocate, you have somebody who, no matter how much you may piss each other off, there is one person on the planet who will never not love you. And of course, this is a wish and a deep hope for the world. And we are making generalizations, but statistically, that is a built-in camaraderie and two people, and the cycle goes that, so my mother's going to, be willing to lay down in traffic for me, and I'm willing to lay down in traffic for my daughter. And when you realize that you can value the relationship, and it shifts from that paradigm into one of friendship that's like an elective. We're like, oh no, I want to spend time with you. I don't have to spend time with you. You know me better than anyone. I sort of know you better than anyone. It's really something to be treasured. And I have that pillow, that vintage needlepoint pillow that I found in a thrift shop that says, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, I am my mother after all." So, try as we might, you look in that mirror one day and it's like, holy shit, it's my mom.
Right. Well, and if you can get to that point, because not everyone is lucky to have that, right? So, and believe me, I struggled with my mom for a very long time, and it has taken a lot of hard work for us to get to where we are. But what a gift that we got through it, and that was through a lot of hardships and ups and downs. But if and when you can get through that, it truly is a gift, and there is a real friendship now, and it's really remarkable.
Special.
Yeah.
So in our book, we have a chapter called "My Wine Glass is Half Full, My Coffee Cup Runneth Over." And it's really about how women all over the world spend time, not just drinking alcohol, a lot of time doing that, but tea and coffee, but And so why do you think it's such an important ritual and that women all over the world come together to do this ritual together?
Yeah, it was really fun writing this chapter and thinking about all the places all over the world, whether it's chai or sake or what have you. And I think the reason why is because it's a time and a place to get together and kind of immerse yourself in your five senses and have the time stop and connect. And it's therapeutic again. And it's, the coffee clutch or what have you. There's tons of names for it.
I think it's the coffee clutch.
Thank you. Well, that's another thing that Rachel and I, speaking of marriage.
But honestly, most people in the world will call it a coffee clutch. Okay.
Coffee clutch?
Yeah, I know it's very
okay. Coffee clutch.
And then now it's like, I got to go down with it and make sure.
All right. Well, whatever. Women getting together for coffee or tea or afternoon tea, right?
Yeah,
we don't call it high tea anymore.
Unless you're high.
Right. That's possible. And then that's fun too. Mm-hmm. But so women getting together, enjoying whatever beverage is in front of them, having a time stop, communicating, leaning in, laughing, learning about each other, sharing ideas, maybe complaining about things that they can't talk about with anyone else. It's therapeutic. And again, we're generalizing, but it's similar to like the guys meeting at the local bar to watch sports or whatever. It's just this can be, when we talk about friendships, this can be any friends. We realize that there are guys part of friend groups, as there should be, but it's just a reminder to take that time out. Maybe it's a ritual where you meet once a week on Sunday and then go on a hike or what have you. But finding those times to connect, and it's often over a beverage. That's right. Yeah. Okay, Rach, why are ladies' nights and girls' trips so important?
One of my favorite subjects. I think that we really have come to understand that science has shown us that even the physical action of smiling releases endorphins or serotonin, something like that. And
happy chemicals
that the brain desperately needs and sometimes are in short supply because, life, the world is kind of a dark place. And
a girls' weekend, look, and of course, it's a socioeconomic commentary. Not everybody is lucky enough to be able to go on a girls' weekend. And, but it's just time spent together. We've made a plan. You have gotten out there. You've gotten your girlfriends together, and you can be sitting on a couch in somebody's house, or if you're lucky enough and it is a weekend away, but it's like a reset button of endorphins and serotonin. And just to have that time to laugh, or you're in a time of need, and the weekend away is because you really, really need somebody. Whatever it is, it's so valuable, but it is so damn fun. And the process of it, even getting ready for it, we always laugh about that the text chains are hilarious, and people want to capture those and keep them. Everything from anything stupid like, what are we wearing on this night, that night, or blah, blah, who's doing the reservation. It isn't the building of the weekend or the evening that ends up being special, and the jokes start flying well before you step foot out the door. I can't stress enough how lucky I feel when I get to do that. And, we went out the other night and one of our friends was just feeling particularly low. And I think she expressed her gratitude 73 times over the course of the evening. She was hammered.
Yeah.
Which is, but she needed that too. And so to be able to do that
just to get away from your husband again, which we love, by the way. But
it is. It's
shaking it up. It's dusting off maybe the cobwebs in the head. Just change your literal and figurative perspective sometimes, just changing it up and being with that support system and
Laughing your ass off is kind of key.
So an extension of that would be why don't you give an example
of what you consider a great friend date?
So Rachel and I are both Valley girls, and a local friend date, for example, might be us meeting at Stanley's restaurant, ordering Chinese chicken salads, a glass of Sauvignon Blanc, and
The cookie pie, which is a
brownie, brownie ice cream. And then if there's time after, maybe we'll go get a foot massage at Foot Inspiration and call it a night and just, connect in between all the texts leading up to it over dinner, relax with a I would say, yeah, it doesn't really happen anymore because now all of our time is about working on this.
Well, yeah. So now we're just happy to be together.
Yeah, exactly.
But that might see like a group date with our girls. Yes. Or someone from thing.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly. And making sure to celebrate each other's birthdays.
So, Rach,
yes,
we've been talking a lot about this book, but we are really developing a brand called Stay Forever Gold, which is the name of our website and our social media. So tell us about Stay Forever Gold.
Stay Forever Gold is, as Rach said, it's the brand that, we would say this IP, this intellectual property of the book is kind of our basis. It's part of the foundation of it. And it's really helped us to establish, what do we want to do with this messaging? How do we want to get this further out into the world? And so we're super excited about it. It's we're using it all as a scaffolding, and it's all built around connection, community, and of course, friendship. We have future books planned, targeting more tweens and teens, men, the LGBTQ plus community. We have books planned for, in the near future, which we're really excited about. And then of course, expanding so that we can have more things to share. So ancillary products that go with this idea of fun and friendship and sharing. So it's not just about something kind of like Valentine's Day, but it's an evergreen. We're very pleased when someone in the book world said, "Oh, it's an evergreen book," which means it really is for all year long. And we also, do you want to talk about sort of the blogging? No?
Yeah, sure. And
in addition to just the products, we also hope to have ancillary experiences like girls' trips, and we've got lots of big plans. But in the meantime, we are blogging and writing about friendship. And for example, we just wrote a blog about famous besties to celebrate Women's History Month or different ways to celebrate Valentine's Day. And so that blog further develops our ideas about community connection and friendship. And that can be found on Medium or on our website, Stay Forever Gold. And yeah, we're just really excited. Like I said, the friendship rings, the Claddagh rings. We have so many great ideas, and they keep coming at us.
So like you do on your podcast, Dear Family, we're going to answer the same two questions that all your guests get asked. So if you, Rachel Steinman, could write your younger self a letter, it's a love letter. What would you say? What would you say to your younger self? And it doesn't have to be necessarily just about friendship.
I would say, dear Rachel, be present, understand that the hardships that you experience are only going to make you stronger, and that they're actually gifts. And as far as friendship is concerned, when I was younger, I was chasing boys, or I always had a boyfriend. And I look back and no real regrets in my life, but I wish I had been more present with those friends and not always prioritized romantic relationships. I see that being really important now in my life, especially now that I'm about to become an empty nester. I would say learn to forgive quickly, because the pain that you hold on to actually hurts you. And just continue to be present and celebrate life and count your blessings. You know, we are, if we stop and think about where we are in 2024, yes, we can focus on all the negatives that are happening around us, but there are so many beautiful positives. So continue to focus on that, count your blessings, and make time for your friends. Okay, same question for you. What would your Dear Rachel love letter be to your 20-year-old self?
Oh, God. I wish there was a good female equivalent of the Yiddish word schmuck, because I would tell myself not to be such a schmuck.
I think you could be a schmuck as a girl.
You think?
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess maybe I do fall victim of having regrets about certain things. It was really in a rush. I'm like walking around of the epitome of the
Billy Joel song Vienna. Like, what was the hurry?
and so it's very similar to what you said.
I guess I would tell my younger self, take a deep breath.
Try to explore some things that look confounding. Try to dive in deeper, not run away so quickly. Try to understand. I think it would have helped shape the foundation for myself a little earlier. So I would say to my younger self, like, slow down, take a deep breath, and it's okay to love yourself a little bit more.
I hope you love yourself now.
I'm way cooler now.
Okay, good. Yeah, yeah.
I'm much easier
With
now.
age, you definitely find that confidence. That's for sure.
Okay, so let's see.
Do you have happiness habits? So what brings you joy?
Well, I will say, and it's not at all just to promote this book, it's truly like being with you and friendship that makes me so happy. My family makes me so happy. My dog makes me so happy. I would say cooking. I love to cook. I love to be creative in any way possible. Getting outdoors is huge. It's amazing what that natural sunlight and using those your five senses to smell the flowers and hear the wind and just getting connected with myself, whether that's through yoga or mindfulness. Those are the types of things that really ground me and bring me a lot of happiness. And it's the small things like my cup of coffee every morning that I wake up and I'm the first one up in the house and just sitting there and enjoying and savoring and understanding that every moment is a gift. So those are the mindfulness types of things that really bring me joy. And of course, the girl strips. Girl strips are huge. So same question, last question for you. What brings you happiness?
I have to give credit. This is an odd thing, but I really want to give credit to Gretchen Rubin.
Wrote a book called The Happiness Project. Mm-hmm. And there are a couple of tidbits that I took from that book and I have really run with. In order to improve and at times save my marriage, I had to really take to heart, if you can do something in 60 seconds, do it right then and there. So instead of putting my coat on a chair, it probably takes less than 60 seconds to hang it up, which makes my husband super happy. So I've taken that and run with it. And then also that true intimacy is passed between two people if a hug lasts for 8 seconds or longer. So I am very cognizant when I'm hugging people. They probably think I'm super weird. I'm like, why is this woman holding on? I don't do that with everybody, but with people I really like, like a total stranger. And
being present is really a big deal, especially with my children. I definitely it got through to me a little bit late. So I'm really grateful that I am getting better at being super present with them and enjoying their time in our house before they go off. So yeah, and then I think trying to be present.
Again, I don't drink coffee, as you know, but I do have these moments where I first get my tea latte, and that
first sip is so damn good. So I'm going to steal that one from you. And yeah, honestly, for me, being happy is like trying to recognize a moment of happiness is a happiness habit for me. Like, oh, I'm having a feeling right now. This is good. I'm like, oh, that's good. I'm going to hold on to
that. Hey, Rach. Yes. Where can you get our book?
On Etsy, on Amazon. We're in many boutiques. Do you want to tell us some of the boutiques?
We're in boutiques across the country. So West Coast, of course, areas in Los Angeles and Palm Springs and Mammoth, and also St. Louis and Tallahassee, and then of course New York and Brooklyn. And we're working on more and more. We've had some amazing supporters. Some of the proprietors of these boutiques have really supported us and really pushed the book. And we're really excited. The boutique part of it has been very fun. Not that Amazon hasn't been fun, but we're surviving it. And what about our social media? Do you want to share?
Yeah. So also, if you go to Instagram, Stay Forever Gold, that's with a 4, you can see the number 4, that is. You can see where the boutiques are in the highlights. There's a button that shows the boutiques, and also on our web. And everything's on our website at Stay Forever Gold, and that's the regular spelling. And this makes a great gift for Mother's Day or bachelorette parties,
showers, yes. Gifts.
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
Sisters, friends, of course, all year long, Friendsgiving, hostess gifts. It's good stuff. And then how can our fabulous friends help us?
Yeah, so definitely follow us on social media. Consider buying a book for yourself or your group of besties. Share this podcast.
Write reviews.
Super key. Yeah, 5-star reviews on Amazon, on Goodreads. All of those things are super helpful in getting the message out. We'd be really grateful.
Amazing. Should we just say thanks and goodbye?
Yeah, thanks so much for hanging out with us today.
Thank you so much for being here with us. I super had a good time.
I know. And make sure to spend time with your friends. Call your friend, call your best friends, check in on them.
Call your mom. Yes. Pet your dog. Your adopted dog. Okay, bye.
Bye.
This is Rachel Steinman. For more information or to contact me with any questions, comments, or guest ideas, please check out rightnowrachel.com. That's right with a W. Thank you so much for listening, subscribing, and sharing, dear family. And if you found value in what you've just heard, I would love and so appreciate a great review on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Until next time, I wish you love, happiness, and good mental health.